Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Duckville. I'm going to be bringing you a match from the MGG CNA trials that we hosted last Saturday, which would have been the 6th or 7th of June 2013. I don't know. Maybe you're watching this in the future. Maybe there's flying cars. I don't know. But this is going to be a game that we were unfortunately not able to broadcast live on the stream at the time. There were so many wonderful matches going on at the CNA Trials NA Qualifier with some of the really top quality NA players participating to try and secure a top 3 spot to get an invite to the CNA Invitational Finals, which is a little bit later on in the year. But our two players here played a really interesting set in the upper bracket before one of them was unfortunately lowered down to the lower bracket, as it were. So let's talk about our players here, then we'll talk about some of the other stuff that went on. Up at the top left-hand side is our Terran player, currently playing for Team CMStorm. It is Polt. Of course, a wonderful Korean Terran player who has been just a force of a wonderful force in the scene over in NA. Has been participating in a lot of what. A lot of the local sort of tournaments, as well as been in some of those sorts of things, and is just a really strong, solid player. You can, if you ever want to sort of learn a bit of Terran, I would always suggest watching Polt. Not only is he a great player to watch on stream, because he has, firstly, he has great English as well, but he also just is very solid. You won't see him going crazy and doing like proxy battle cruiser or some ridiculous sort of thing. So it's always a very solid way to start for a player who is just learning the game or just learning some Terran or something like that. We can see he is going to open us up with a Reaper opening here in game number 1. This is a best of 3 between these two players. His opponent down at the bottom right hand side was picked up a little while ago by the Root Gaming team. Kat saw this guy and said, damn, he's good, and thus he was brought into the fold at the Root Gaming team. It is Succeed. Here's a Protoss player who I have really liked watching. He has some very strong 2-base builds, which he does bring out from time to time. He also has some really good micro to go along with that as well. And you know, he's just one of these Protoss players who's come about and just has really just full on clicked, and it's just sort of done a really good job with that. He hasn't necessarily, like I know some of you are probably saying, but I've never heard of this guy. Well, as I said, it's only just sort of clicked, so we can really expect him to sort of come about very soon and just become a really powerful force in the Protoss world very soon. It looks as if we will have an eBay block there from Polt down at the natural base. So let's talk about the let's talk about this tournament. So we've had quite a few of these qualifying tournaments going on for the CNA trials, where we've had a couple of them over at C, where we've had quite a lot of the really good C players playing in them. Of course, you know, Rossi, Light, Pig, a lot of these other guys, and they've done really well. And now we've got the NA trials to see who from NA is good enough to compete with some of the C-based players. So these two competing for a spot up at there. Of course, you know, one of them will have to go down eventually in this best of 3, but we'll see what happens. Polt is going to lose that eBay. I'm a little bit surprised he actually finished that up. Normally what you see people do is they will sort of stop that just before it finishes so you can cancel it and get some of those minerals back. But Polt, not too worried about that. He's got a Reaper. He's going to have a quick poke through the main base, sees that there's a double gas. He may have a quick look and see how much gas has been taken out as well. He's going to bounce around, Succeed, looking for the surround with the probes. Only just the 1 kill at the current time for this Reaper. He's going to come back, try and snipe off a couple more. Succeed, gets a kill. Wow, with a probe. There you go. There is a probe in there with 1 kill. That guy is a bit of a hero. So Succeed going to be happy that that threat is now gone. Of course, he would have been able to deal with that very easily with his Stalker and Sentry and Mothership Core anyway, but I mean, it's always good to get it out of the way. So we can see now Succeed free to expand down here to the natural. Akalon wastes the map we're on at the moment. Nice little easy base to take down here. Once you clear out those rocks, you can pick up a third sort of pocket base down here and then set it up nicely with the destructible rocks dropping down here, sort of protecting it a little bit longer than you would normally have at that kind of base. But Polt going to pick up a command center very soon down at that natural. He's got an eBay down at the back of his base. So we're going to have what looks to be a possible normal sort of 11-minute timing coming out of Polt, a very standard, very, very, bread and butter kind of stuff coming out of our Terran play here. As I said, he's very standard and won't throw out crazy stuff too often. So we will see the 11-minute timing. The Mothership Core going to have a quick look and see what she can find in there, but a couple of Marines will poke about and try and defend against that. So we can see that the Stim is now on the way, +1 to weapons, also researching here for Polt. So he's going to look for that attack very soon. But what will he have to deal with from our Protoss opponent? Down here, we've got an Immortal coming out from Succeed. He's already got one. I think we're going to get a bust coming out of Succeed very soon. Possibly like a 4-gate Immortal kind of bust coming out from him. We'll see. It sort of depends on when he stops probing, which is actually just now. So he's stopped probing for the moment. It looks like we've got 4 gates going up for the total there. We've got a couple of Immortals out. Has Polt seen what's going on? I don't think just yet he's seen what is happening right now, but another Immortal now coming out here from Succeed. So Polt's going to have to be very, very careful. His 11-minute timing is not necessarily going to happen here because Succeed is going to look to try and bust in at the same sort of time, and he's going to have very powerful forces with these 3 Immortals. We're going to have a lot of gateway units coming out. In fact, the 5th gate is now on the way from Succeed, so he's not taking any chances right now. A pylon being built across to the side. We have an SCV just patrolling about. A very nice patrolling SCV here to catch out if the Protoss forces slowly move ahead. And now Polt has taken out the rocks across to the side. I'm intrigued as to that decision here from him. It does, it does protect this 3rd base a little bit easier now that we'll have to see Succeed knock down the rocks. But I mean, he's got Immortals. They're a counter to destructible debris or rocks. I can tell you, it's actually kind of funny. But it looks like we'll have the push now coming through. Lots of sentries here. If Succeed can get a good donut of force fields there, he does. Very nicely done. A nice semicircle. The Immortals blast apart a lot of the Terran units there. A Marine and a Marauder are the only units to escape. Back at home, Polt is looking like he's in a little bit of trouble right now. Succeed is going to have to be careful with the way he attacks into this, but it is going to be very, very strong. The 3 Immortals, one of them going down very quickly. Nice targeting there by Polt. He's got his Stim. He does have the +1 weapons, keep in mind, so that's really going to help him out here. Whereas Succeed, all he has is the brute force power of the Immortals and the Stalkers and all these things. And Polt, recognizing that Succeed may have overstepped his bounds there, charges forward, takes out one of the Immortals, may get the other one just across if he can pick off that Immortal. This is going to be very, very good. But he actually loses a lot of his forces in the process. But wow, that last Immortal is actually immortal. This guy, I mean, has stuck around for quite a long time. So Succeed has been able to bust down the defenses at the front, but is he going to be able to push in further? Because the production of CMStorm Polt is now going to kick in. We've got medevacs being added in. Once those guys are out, this kind of push starts to get very, very difficult to execute. Not to mention, if you've lost those Immortals that you had right at the start, it gets even harder, just because you don't have that raw power to try and bust through any defenses here. And it looks like Succeed is now kind of come across. I'm not particularly sure about this angle of attack. I would rather see him sort of just go straight for that bunker down there, because now we actually have units firing from up above there for Polt. And he's also got not only that, but the bunker across to the side, which has got good range. And it looks like these Marines and the Marauders up on the top are going to be able to have free reign over those units, losing quite a lot of those SCVs. 17 worker kills in total here, but is it enough? Polt is now moving some of his forces across. I think the Polt's going to save this. He's going to keep everything together. The medevac's helping out with their heals. Stim is active. Combat Shields is just about to kick in as well. And I think that Succeed knows that he is in quite a bit of trouble right now. Back at home, no tech for him. We've got the Robo Facility pumping out another Immortal for some defensive presence as well. But I don't think it's going to help. The first Assimilator down at the natural. Second one being added in as well. But Succeed, I kind of, like, as I was sort of showing you guys, we can sort of see he attacked in this direction, which means that he had, you know, Polt coming in from not only like the top side here where the Marines and the Marauders were able to fire down, but we could also see the bunker was still active there, giving the Marines and the Marauders inside a little bit of extra range, but also giving them a lot of protection. And when you've got Stim, Marine, Marauder with the medevac support, that puts you in a very, very tough position when you're trying to attack, especially when you're caught out in this sort of area here inside a Terran's natural base. So Polt is now sitting on a total of 42 SCVs. He is down in the SCV count, but his mining is obviously, you've got to include those mules as well. He's now got 5 barracks back at home, and I think Polt is about to slam down the Executioner's axe right now, because there are a lot of Marauders, a lot of Marines there as well. All Succeed has is a few Stalkers, a couple of Zealots there as well, and a pair of Immortals. So it's going to be very difficult for him to defend. Not only does he have to defend 2 positions at once, but you know, he's just going to not have the upgrades as well. We now can see that Combat Shield is going to be active for those Marines as well. Polt is going to drop in the back, takes out an Artosis pylon that was all over those 3 gates, and that means that Succeed is down to 2 gates, and there is a GG. So game number 1 in this best of 3 goes to CMStorm. Polt fending off a very tough, little 2-base push from Succeed there, but Succeed, I think, just overstepping his bounds a tiny bit, which unfortunately led to the demise of the Immortals and then the rest of his forces. We'll go into game number 2 in a second. Stick around. We also had Vibe. Quite a lot of the Root guys actually joined in the tournament, which was good to see. Root has quite a lot of my favorite Protoss players in Succeed, Puck, and also Sage. So it's kind of a little bit of a bias there sometimes when I